They raised you on false promises, words dressed up as kindness, loyalty, and selflessness. You were told to be nice, to stay open, to be there for others. But being available means being exposed. And in this world, the ones who are too available get used, not respected. You waste hours checking in, showing up, explaining yourself to people who wouldn't even notice your absence. That's the first sign your power is slipping. Spreading yourself too thin when you should be focused like a blade. Machiavelli saw this before modern thinkers tried to soften the truth. A man who splits his attention always loses the fight. Every time you explain yourself, every time you get involved in someone else's struggle, you drain your strength. And what do you get in return? Validation, approval. These are the rewards of those without control. If you want to be respected, feared, and untouchable, you must become your own priority. That's not selfish. It's strategy. The weak call it selfish because they can't handle someone who refuses to break for them. But true power is quiet, focused, built from within. You don't need permission to step back and build. You don't owe anyone a reason for removing distractions. Once you realize your thoughts are the only battlefield that truly matters, life starts to shift in your favor. Focus only on yourself, not out of bitterness, not for revenge, but because you've finally seen the truth. No one's coming to rescue you. No one will hand you strength, and no one will carry your pain like you do. Your real growth begins when you take your energy away from the crowd and channel it into building something. The more you look inward, the louder your silence becomes. And that silence, it scares them. If you're ready to stop begging and start creating, comment this now. I've stopped asking for attention. I'll become the reason they want it. This is just the beginning. Section 1. The Mask of Loyalty. We start by exposing the lies hidden under the name of love and friendship, and how they were designed to keep you weak. 1. The loyalty trap. How they use care to control you. They don't need to lock you up to control you. They just have to act like they care. That's the most powerful trap. False loyalty, dressed in emotional phrases. They'll say, "I'll always be there for you." But watch what happens when you stop playing your old role. Watch how quick their care fades once your goals no longer benefit them. What they call friendship is often disguised dependency. You hold on to people because they once made you feel noticed, but that connection came with invisible chains. You delay your growth because you're scared it'll upset them, make them uneasy, or even jealous. So you hold yourself back. You silence your drive, all to protect their comfort. That's not loyalty, that's a cage. And it's a form of mental control no one ever taught you to defend against. Machiavelli warned about this long ago. The most dangerous people aren't always your enemies. Sometimes they're the ones closest to you, the ones who smile while draining you. They ask for your time, your energy, your presence, and call it love. But say no once, and suddenly you're the villain. That's not love. That's manipulation. And if you don't cut it off, it'll bleed your future dry. You can't grow while protecting fragile egos. You can't rise if you're afraid of being misunderstood. And you absolutely can't evolve into someone powerful while carrying the weight of people stuck in your past. Every minute you spend with someone who isn't building with you, you take away from what you're building for yourself. Your silence isn't cruelty, it's precision. Let them call it heartless. Let them call it selfish. You call it strategy. If you're ready to break free from emotional chains, comment this now. Their loyalty was a prison. My freedom is now ruthless. Section 2, the myth of balance. They tell you to find balance. But here's the truth. Balance is for people who fear intensity. 2. Balance is a lie. Power demands obsession. You're told not to burn out, to rest, to keep things healthy. But you weren't built for moderation. Moderation is how they slow you down. They hand you this idea of balance like a soft pillow, so you don't realize you're being rocked to sleep. But those who leave a mark, they never lived balanced lives. They became obsessed. Obsessed with purpose, with discipline, with rising. Not because it was trendy, but because they had no other option. You can't heal in the same place that broke you. And you can't become exceptional if you're living by average rules. Balance sounds nice, but it's a trap for the powerful. When you start to focus only on yourself, people panic. They say you've changed, that you've gone cold, but that's the price of waking up. When you see how much time you wasted trying to please others, you don't crave balance, you crave progress. And progress doesn't ask for your comfort, it demands your full attention. If your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. And if your path doesn't isolate you, it's not yours. Balance is the enemy of greatness. You want peace? Earn it through war? You want power? Sacrifice for it. Not sometimes, not when it feels good, every single day. If this hit you in your gut, comment this now. I don't want a balanced life. I want a meaningful one. Section 3. The cost of being liked. There is a heavy price for being liked, and it's one most people pay with their potential. 3. The approval trap. Trading power for acceptance. You grew up learning to say yes when you wanted to say no, smiling when you felt disrespected, showing up when you were exhausted. Why? To be liked, to be accepted, to avoid being judged. But that approval came at a cost. The cost was your time, your dreams, your identity. You shaped yourself into what others needed and lost who you really were. That's how they trained you, through reward and punishment. Smile and they'll like you. Speak up and they'll isolate you. But you were never born to be liked. You were born to become something unforgettable. People won't always like that. They'll call you arrogant, distant, difficult, good. The most dangerous man in the room isn't the one who's loud. It's the one who doesn't need to be understood. You weren't made to blend in. You were made to build. And that kind of energy isn't always liked, but it will be respected. And that respect, that's the real currency of power. If you're done being liked and ready to be respected, comment, I'd rather be hated for my truth than loved for my silence. Section 4. The power of distance. They think silence means weakness. That distance means you've lost. They're wrong. 4. Distance is a weapon. Use it wisely. When you stop explaining yourself, people start wondering who you are. That's power. When you stop texting first, they question their worth. That's control. Your absence teaches what your presence couldn't. It shows them your value without a single word. The ones who took you for granted, they don't miss you. They miss the access. They miss the version of you who never said no. But that version is gone. You're no longer here to entertain their confusion. You're building, not begging. You're choosing silence, because silence speaks louder than any apology. Distance is not about revenge. It's about clarity. It's about choosing yourself finally, over people who only chose you when it was convenient. Comment this if you know what it's like to walk away in silence. I didn't lose them. I found myself. Section 5. Let them talk. You stay quiet. They want a reaction. They want a response. But silence is your greatest form of self-control. 5. Silence isn't weakness. It's mastery. They'll say you've changed. They'll twist your words. They'll try to drag your name into their chaos. Don't take the bait. Silence isn't submission. It's strategy. Lions don't roar when insects crawl at their feet. You don't owe them clarity. You don't owe them your energy. They want your reaction because that gives them power. But when you stay calm, when you remain unbothered, they lose all leverage. Not everyone deserves your truth. Some people only ask questions to twist your answers. So let them talk. Let them guess. Let them choke on the silence they once forced on you. You are not responsible for fixing their perception. You are responsible for protecting your peace. Comment if you're done responding to nonsense. They'll talk. I'll rise. Section 6. You don't need closure. You've been waiting for an apology, waiting for them to understand. But closure doesn't come from them. 6. You create closure by moving on. They left without explanation. They hurt you and never looked back. You stayed awake wondering why. But here's the truth. They knew what they did. They just didn't care enough to make it right. You don't need their apology. You don't need them to validate your pain. What you need is the strength to stop revisiting it. Closure isn't something they give you. It's a decision you make. You stop needing answers and start choosing freedom. You realize that healing doesn't wait for permission. You let go, not because they deserve peace, but because you do. The door they closed? It wasn't your prison, it was your path to power. If you've created your own closure, comment, I gave myself the ending they never would. Section 7, The Art of Going Ghost. When words no longer work and presence becomes punishment, disappear. 7. Sometimes the best move is no move at all. They expected you to stay, to argue, to explain, to beg. But instead, you vanished. That's when the power shifted. They weren't ready for your silence. They weren't prepared for the version of you who doesn't chase, doesn't explain, doesn't care. When you go ghost, you stop feeding what drains you. You stop entertaining what confuses you. You break the cycle. They can't control you if they can't find you. Disappearing isn't cowardice. It's protection. It's healing. It's strategy. It's you saying, I deserve peace more than I deserve your presence. They'll notice when you're gone. They always do. Too late. Comment if you've ever had to disappear to survive. I didn't vanish. I healed in silence. Section 8. They'll regret losing you. They thought you'd always be available, but the day you walked away was the day they lost the rarest thing they had. 8. Your absence is their wake-up call. They didn't value you when they had access. They assumed you'd stay no matter what, but you left, and now they feel it. Not your texts, not your calls, not your energy. Just a silence that screams louder than your presence ever did. Regret is loud in the rooms you no longer enter. They remember your loyalty now. They remember your patience, your kindness, your sacrifice. But you've moved on. You're not bitter, you're better. You no longer chase closure, you choose peace. They may miss you, but that's their weight to carry, not yours. Comment if you've outgrown people who never saw your worth. They lost me when I found myself. Section 9. Only one thing makes you unstoppable. It's not talent. It's not beauty. It's not money. It's this. 9. Relentless focus on your own path. The most dangerous person in the room isn't the loudest. It's the one who's focused, quiet, unshaken. While others chase attention, you chase growth. While they gossip, you grind. While they wait for permission, you move with purpose. You don't explain. You don't compete. You execute. That kind of focus terrifies them because they can't distract you. They can't trigger you. They can't break someone who built peace from chaos. You are no longer driven by their opinions. You're driven by vision, purpose, silence, and the discipline to protect it at all costs. If you're walking in silence with relentless focus, comment, I'm not here to compete. I'm here to become.